Johor, one of the southern states in peninsular Malaysia, traces its historical roots back to the 16th century. The Sultanate of Johor was officially founded around 1528 when Sultan Alauddin Riayat Shah II moved the royal court to Johor Lama, establishing it as the capital. Over the centuries, Johor played a pivotal role in regional trade and diplomacy. Its strategic location along key maritime routes contributed to its growth and influence. The state has witnessed periods of prosperity, conflicts, and transformations, shaping its unique identity within the diverse tapestry of Malaysian history. Johor, the second highest populated state in Malaysia with 4 million people, is one of the major contributors to the GDP of Malaysia due to its strategic location. Johor's economy is among the top 3 largest in Malaysia, alongside Selangor and Kuala Lumpur. The state is also a major logistics hub in Malaysia, home to the port of Tanjung Pelepah, the 15th busiest port in the world and the second busiest port in Malaysia besides Port Klang. Johor, situated right beside Singapore, holds the most strategic position in Malaysia for maritime activities, making it a pivotal hub for naval and trade operations. 7 years ago, the federal government unveiled an ambitious plan, investing in 4 megaprojects with the vision of transforming Johor into the powerhouse of Malaysia. These projects included the Forest City Property Development, the KL-Singapore High-Speed Rail, the JB double-tracking railway line, and the Pengerang Integrated Petroleum Complex. Now, the question arises, has Johor truly become the powerhouse of Malaysia as envisioned back then? Forest City. According to reports, 30 condominium blocks have been completed, along with some landed homes. Many of the residential blocks appeared to have few residents nearly 7 years after the project's inception. This could be due to the fact that the majority, or close to 70%, of the 26,000 units handed over to buyers were from China. The KL-Singapore High-Speed Rail project, which aimed to connect Kuala Lumpur and Singapore, was cancelled in January 2021 by the Petrochemical national-led government. Malaysia ended up having to pay Singapore RM320 million in compensation as part of its obligation under the bilateral agreement. The project is still in the midst of a revival. The construction of the Johor Bahru electrified double-tracking rail project is currently 92% complete. Once operational, residents living in towns along the route will be able to commute daily to JB for work. An electrified and double-tracked railway network between Gemas and JB would also facilitate large-scale cargo shipments between Malaysia's 2 largest ports, Port Klang near Kuala Lumpur and Tanjung Pelepah west of JB. Industries that produce goods on a large scale stand to particularly benefit from the increased capacity. Given that land prices in Greater JB are relatively high, these industries may be encouraged to relocate to towns along the railroad, such as Segamat, Kluang, and Kalai. PIPC is the Petronas Pengerang Integrated Complex, PIC, Petronas' largest downstream investment in a single location to date. The development includes the $16 billion refinery and Petrochemical Integrated Development Project, RAPID. It is estimated that the PIPC will contribute 10 to 15% of Petronas Chemicals Group Berhad revenue. The PIPC will also create new high-value products and byproducts from the refined feedstock, such as polymers, pharmaceutical products, and plastics. In 2022, Johor is not listed among the 4 states that outperformed the country's GDP growth, surpassing the national average. Based on the Statistics Department report, Penang 13.1% is number 1, followed by Selangor at 11.9%, Pahang at 10.8%, and Kuala Lumpur 9.2%. The 4 states contributed significantly to the country's overall progress and made Malaysia's GDP grow to 8.7% last year. Johor has always come out in the top 3 for the past 10 to 15 years. In the midst of the pandemic, Johor Bahru has transformed into a remarkably quiet city. The reality is that Johor's economic heartbeat is closely tied to Singapore. Many people from Johor work across the border in Singapore, and local businesses thrive on the money spent by our Singaporean neighbors. However, when the border closes, everything comes to a halt. The strict border controls have crippled Johor's economy, with the average 300,000 people that cross the causeway daily collapsing to a trickle. A significant number of Malaysians who work in Singapore do jobs that may not pay very much. In 2023, Johor will be the biggest contributor to Malaysia's total trade, worth RM247 billion, which is 30% of Malaysia's total trade. Johor attracted the most foreign direct investment (FDI) in the country with RM70.6 billion last year, up from RM6.8 billion in 2020 and RM7 billion in 2021. Inside manufacturing, such as electrical and electronics and chemicals and petrochemicals, is receiving the highest investment. With this investment, Johor will create 12,000 jobs and business opportunities. Johor has been one of the preferred destinations in Malaysia among multinational investors. The ready infrastructure and reasonable land prices are the key attractions in our view, given various road accessibility, airports, and seaports, as well as their proximity to Singapore. Johor has also become a popular area for data center investment. It actually started in 2019 when a moratorium in Singapore led to customers and providers like us looking at it as if there were no more capacity to be built in Singapore, which is a network hub of visitors around this region. In 2022, data center investments alone contributed RM51.1 billion to Johor, and it was cited that the state would see RM17 billion worth of new investment in data centers in 2024. YTL will be the largest data center in Malaysia, with SEA Limited as the anchor tenant. SEA Limited is the parent company of both Shopee and Garena. Johor is ready to become a regional medical device manufacturing hub with the latest investment of $200 million by Insulet Corporation. For now, Penang remains the top state for medical device exports, contributing 70% to Malaysia's total medical device exports. Penang has a strong ecosystem of supporting industries, a skilled workforce, and a strategic location in the region. Malaysia and Singapore have agreed to jointly develop the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone, SEZ. Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong said the SEZ is a substantial and promising project that will enhance the cross-border flow of goods and people and strengthen the business ecosystem between the two countries. This will improve the economic attractiveness for both sides, Singapore and Johor, he said. The SEZ will aim to attract foreign direct investment, promote trade, create jobs, and foster technological innovation by offering various incentives and facilities to businesses. The RTS link is expected to start operations in 2026, with a capacity of 10,000 passengers per hour per direction and an expected ridership of about 40,000 passengers all day. Neighboring countries like Thailand and Indonesia are opening up special economic zones, or SEZs, too. Thailand is also pitching a multi-billion-dollar project that will significantly cut shipping times between the Indian and Pacific Oceans by bypassing the Malacca Strait. The battle of investments is raging. If we don't act fast, we will lose to other countries in the region, especially Indonesia and Vietnam, which are aggressively attracting investors.